Hey, welcome to Hot Rods and Horsepower. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to start your car if you don't have any power. In the winter months, when it's really cold outside, cars tend to lose their power. The batteries have this thing called amps, and they have cold cranking amps. And if your cold cranking amps on your battery is kind of on the low side, and you find that your car is not really turning over like it should, or it may not be starting at all. It doesn't, in other words, the battery may have low cold cranking amps. You may have to get another battery. So it has amps and has cold cranking amps. That's for the cold weather. Now, let's say, for example, you put your key in the ignition, the car doesn't start. I'm sorry. The first thing that you want to do is if you got it sitting in your if you have it sitting in your driveway, you want to open up the hood and look at the connections of the battery. Wiggle the connections, wiggle the negative, wiggle the positive. See if the connection is very tight. In other words, the battery terminals should not be loose at all. If it is loose a little bit, then while you're driving, you are losing power. That's why those clamps are there on the battery, is to keep a very tight connection between the battery terminals and the two lines that are running from the battery terminals to the car, which is the positive and the negative. So, in any event that one of them are loose, as you shake them, you have to tighten it, and then you want to jumpstart your car. Another thing you want to do is look at the corrosion on the terminals. If there's any type of corrosion, like green or white, any type of corrosion on any of the terminals, sometimes corrosion, it may not be a thing of, it could just be a thing of, residue, condensation. There's another word for it. I can't think about it. But if you have that problem, then you have to get a wire brush, clean it off well, bring the clamp the connections back on after you clean it off well, and then jump start the car. Now, that's another problem that could happen when it comes to the connections. Now, let's get into the internal parts. If you put your After you try to jumpstart your car, if your car is still not turning over, then it could be another problem. What is it now? Okay. Now, or maybe it starts, but then it cuts off and then it loses power. It starts, it drives a little bit, and then it loses power. Well, guess what? It's the alternator. And in order to indicate it's the alternator, it's a really simple step. So, user discretion is advised, and please see your local dealership and other professionals in order to do this stuff, because I don't. If you get hurt, it won't be by me. All right, this is for good mechanics that know what they're doing. Now, one way on how to tell if the alternator is not working is you take the negative terminal off while the car is running. If the alternator is what keeps the car's power alternating throughout the car, the battery is technically only used for a quick start. The battery is not being used the entire time. The battery is only used to crank the car over. What is holding all of the power is the alternator. So, if you crank the car over and you disconnect the battery terminal, the negative battery terminal, and the car is still running, that indicates that the car itself is running well. that means you did a good job, and you may have to check your negative terminals, or it could be another problem. Now, if you disconnect your negative terminal as your car is running and the car cuts off, well, my friend, you have now troubleshooted the problem, which that is a pure indication that the alternator itself is bad and it needs to be changed. And other than that, some cars have specific fuses. I used to have the Chilton's book. I think it's Chiltons. Chilton's is a like an owner's manual for your car. I used to always have those because you can find a lot of things on YouTube, but still you can't find everything on YouTube. When you have the owner's manuals, they give you insider knowledge of how to, work on your car. They give you wire diagrams. They give you all kind of things. So I just wanted to leave this information for you. Yeah. So this should at least hopefully help you to get your car started, and hopefully back on the road if you come across this video and you're having these problems. So thank you so much. All right. Peace. And stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe to more tips, tricks, techniques here at Hot Rods and Horsepower. Oh yeah, by the way, if you have to jumpstart your car, always remember, check your terminals. Red for positive, black is for negative. You put it on two cars, you put the red and black on positive, and then you go and put it on the other car. Now, when you go to jumpstart a car, to not damage the other person's car, try to jump your car with the power off. See if you have any juice for that, because sometimes your car has a little juice. Now, if it doesn't work with the car off, then what you do is you have your friend or whomever, the other car, you turn that one on, rev up the motor. And a way to save their car, because their alternator and everything is going to be kicking out juice, and sometimes that can damage their car. So the way to save their car is tell them, cut your car off, because all of that juice went through the line to your car. So you say, cut your car off. And as soon as they cut their car off, now you turn your key. And that's a good way to save your, the other car's alternator or other underlying conditions. It doesn't. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's another great way to help save it. Now, if you really don't have any power and you really need that car started, then yeah, they got to run that car, run the RPMs up to about 5,000, maybe a little bit more. Keep running it, and then the other person goes and turns the key on the ignition, and hopefully that'll get it started. If that doesn't get it started, and you don't have like a regular jumper to start your car, because they do sell great jumpers, and you don't, to jumpstart your car, they actually come really small and nice now. You don't have that, you don't have AAA, do yourself a favor and get a battery, because something's going on. But anyway, thank you for checking this channel out. Peace.